It was supposed to be just another late-night show. Relaxed, fun, and easy to forget. But when Keanu Reeves came and sat down under the bright studio lights, something felt different. His hands shook a little when he said the name of the new pope, Robert Prevost. What happened next wasn't just a story. It felt more like a secret, a quiet memory, something deep and hard to explain. And when Keanu finally started talking, the whole room went completely quiet. The lights in the studio came on slowly, like they were nervous too. The audience clapped and cheered, but something felt weird in the air. Maybe it was the soft footsteps. Maybe it was the way the shiny floor echoed in a strange way. Or maybe it was Keanu. He walked onto the stage calmly, like he always does. He smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. His hands were held together in front of him. His shoulders were a little low, like he was carrying something heavy. He didn't look scared. He looked far away, like he was thinking about something else. The host was full of jokes and charm. He stood up, gave Keanu a quick hug, and made a silly joke. "Keanu, you still look like a samurai or a rock star from the 90s. The audience laughed. Keanu gave a small smile and nodded. He sat down, fixed his jacket, and looked down at the little table between them. There was a glass of water, a notepad, and a crucifix, a little cross with Jesus on it. But it wasn't a normal one. It was broken. The wooden part had a crack, and the figure of Jesus looked like it was slipping, almost like he was in pain. The host didn't seem to notice how strange it looked. He took a sip from his mug and kept talking with energy. "So much is going on these days. Did you hear about the new pope? Robert Prevost, right? He's kind of floaty, calm, like a balloon." The audience chuckled. But Keanu didn't. He looked at the broken cross again, then slowly lifted his eyes. The camera zoomed in. There was something in his face, like a shadow. Something he wasn't saying. "There's something about him," Keanu said. His voice was soft but serious. "I can't explain it." The host blinked. He wasn't expecting that. He tried to keep things light. "You mean like in a spiritual way? Or does he remind you of someone?" "No," Keanu said. "It's what he doesn't remind me of." The room grew quiet, like the air itself had stopped moving. The audience didn't make a sound. The host shifted in his seat and tried again. "Well, maybe he's just different. A new kind of pope. They all have their own style, right?" Keanu closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were shiny, like he might cry, but not yet. He looked at the broken cross again. Then he slowly reached out and touched it with care. His fingers gently moved across the crack. It was like he had seen it before, like it meant something. Then he let it go, left it where it was, and looked straight at the host. Clear, strong. "I've been quiet for long enough." His words dropped into the silence like a heavy stone into deep water. The whole room froze. The host didn't say anything. He just watched. Everyone knew Keanu was about to say something real. Something big. The cameras stayed on. The quiet stayed too. For one, maybe two breaths. Then finally the host whispered, "You've been quiet about what, Keanu?" Keanu looked down at the table again. But not at the cross this time. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a small envelope. It looked old. It was yellow at the edges and soft from being held too much. He placed it on the table gently. "This came to me a few years ago," he said. "I didn't open it. Someone told me not to." The host leaned in, curious. "Who told you not to?" Keanu didn't answer right away. He just looked at the envelope, like it was both a memory and a scar. "It was after a meeting in Rome," Keanu said. "Someone gave it to me in silence. No explanation. Just this." He pushed the envelope a little closer to the host. The host looked at it, nervous. There was no name, just a small symbol. A cross inside a circle. "I thought it was a mistake," Keanu said. "Or maybe a warning." He paused. But there was a note inside. Just one line. He looked straight at the audience. No one moved. "Do not read until the dove has landed." The host raised his eyebrows. "The dove?" Keanu nodded. "I didn't understand it. Not then. But I kept it. For years. I almost forgot about it." He looked down again. And then Pope Francis. He didn't finish the sentence. The envelope and letter sat there, clearly visible to everyone watching. The lights glowed softly off the broken cross. And for the first time, even the people running the show didn't know what to do. No one gave instructions. No one changed the camera. Keanu sat quietly, like he had said everything. But then he spoke again. This time it was softer, more distant. "There's something else." The host turned to face him. He wasn't acting anymore. It wasn't a performance now. Just two men, talking at a table. and one of them had something very important to share. After Prevost became Pope, Keanu said, I started having a dream. He didn't make the story sound dramatic. In fact, the way he told it made it feel even more real. I'm standing in St. Peter's Square, Keanu said. It's empty. The sky looks like it's morning, but not warm. Just pale. I look up at the balcony. The host leaned in. And he's there. Keanu nodded slowly. The new pope. He's dressed in white. He's smiling. He paused. But he has no shadow. The whole room felt colder. Even the quiet people in the audience shifted in their seats. The sun is behind him, Keanu said. But the light goes right through him. There's no shadow at all. Just more light. The host tried to help. Maybe it's a symbol. Dreams are like that. Maybe it's your brain trying to understand something. Keanu looked at him kindly but seriously. It doesn't feel like a dream, he said. It feels like a memory that hasn't happened yet. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. His voice was heavier now. And it's always the same. Every time. He lifts one hand, like he's about to bless the crowd. The bells should ring. But they don't. There's no sound. No birds. No people. Just him and me and silence. The host whispered. That's scary. Keanu didn't blink. Didn't smile. I've dreamed of sad things before. I've dreamed of death. But I've never woken up crying. Not until this one. The audience let out a breath they didn't know they were holding. I didn't want to tell anyone, Keanu said. Not even my friends. Because the more I thought about it, the more I wondered. What if I'm seeing something no one else can? The host tried again. But, it's just a dream. Right? Keanu turned his head slowly. His eyes searched the crowd. Then why? He asked. Does it feel like a warning? The question hung in the air. No one could answer. Then Keanu added something else. Dreams are like shadows, right? They come from inside us. But what does it mean when the dream has no shadow? The host had no joke. No smile. No next question. Keanu leaned back, folded his hands again. And somewhere behind them, one of the lights in the studio flickered. Just once. But it was enough. There was a long pause. Then finally the host asked, Keanu, are you saying you've gotten more than just one letter? Keanu looked down. He nodded once. Then he reached into his jacket again and pulled out a bunch of envelopes. They looked very old. Some had torn edges. Some were dirty, like they had dust or ash on them. None of them had names or stamps. Someone had given them to him quietly, placing them where he could find them, like in his room or in his book. He placed them on the table, carefully spreading them out like a card game. The man next to him, the host, leaned in to look. He looked worried. Where did these come from? The host asked. Keanu looked up and said, different places. Hotel rooms. My trailer on a movie set. One was inside a book I hadn't opened in years. He picked up the top letter and opened it. Inside was a small thick piece of paper. It had just one line typed on it. No name. Just words. When the new leader smiles, faith watches in silence. Keanu put that letter aside and picked another. It said, the man from Lemur. The chosen one without a voice. He read more. Do not say his name. Let him show who he is. If he doesn't blink, the world must. He wears no shadow because the light is afraid of him. The host shook his head, confused. Are you saying someone has been sending you these since the new pope was chosen? Keanu nodded. The first letter came 2 days after the announcement. He held up a very thin envelope, light blue, folded like airmail. The host stared at it like it might burn him. None of them say his name, Keanu said. Not Robert Prevost. Just signs, riddles, little pieces of thoughts. The host looked nervous. You think they did that on purpose? Keanu raised his eyebrows. Have you ever tried to write something true, but you couldn't use the person's name? He waited a moment, then added, It's not because they were told not to. It's because they were scared. The audience was very quiet now. Nobody moved. Even the lights above felt a little dimmer, like the room was leaning in closer to hear. The host carefully picked up one of the letters and read it again out loud. If he does not blink, the world must. He looked at Keanu. What does that even mean? Keanu's eyes got a little darker. I think it means someone is watching us. All of us. But not in the way we're used to. He tapped one of the envelopes. These aren't threats. They're quiet signs. Like someone is trying to tell me, don't say his name. Don't fight. Just watch. Let him show himself. The host sat back thinking, do you think someone is trying to stop you from saying something? For the first time, Keanu looked away. Not at the cross on the table. Not at the letters. but far away, like he was seeing something nobody else could. The room felt colder now. The cameras were still filming, but it didn't feel like a show anymore. It felt like something else. Even the host didn't look like he was acting. He stared at the letters like they might start moving on their own. Keanu was still calm. He picked up the envelope from earlier, the one with the seal, and said, "There's a second page." It was in the letter that Francis sent me. He opened it very gently, like it might break apart. He put it on the table so it could lay flat. But he didn't give it to the host. He read it himself. His voice was soft, like someone reading a prayer. He may dress in light, but he is empty inside. His eyes look full, but he's not really there. His words sound nice, but they don't touch your heart. Keanu looked up for a second. Francis didn't usually write like this. This isn't church language. It's something else. He looked back down and read more. There will be pain under his silence. If he doesn't see it, he isn't the real shepherd. He is just pretending to be one. The host blinked slowly. His mouth opened like he was going to talk, but he didn't. Keanu let the paper rest. Its corners were bent from being kept for so long, but the words were still clear. He was warning me, Keanu said. Warning all of us. That one day someone would take the role, but not the heart. Someone could wear the clothes, stand on the balcony, smile, speak kindly, but not really care. The host shook his head and spoke softly. But this is big. It's Francis. He wasn't someone who worried too much. Keanu nodded. Exactly. That's why I can't ignore it. He picked up the page again and read the last lines out loud. If I die before him, he must be watched. Not for what he does, but for what he doesn't do. The whole room went still, like time had stopped. No one breathed. The lights even seemed quieter. Keanu gently folded the letter again, put it back in the envelope, and moved it aside. I think Francis knew he couldn't stop it, Keanu said. But he hoped someone would notice, would say something, even if it was too late. The host spoke again very softly, like he was afraid someone else might be listening. But why you? Why did he send this to you? Keanu looked down. I ask myself that every day. I'm not a church man. I'm just an actor. He sighed through his nose. A sad little smile showed on his face. But maybe that's the reason. Maybe he thought I'd see it like a story, like something real, hiding in symbols. He pointed toward the cross on the table. It was still broken, still sitting like a wound that hadn't healed. Or maybe I was just the only one he thought would listen. The host stared. Do you believe it? Keanu looked him in the eyes. No pause. I do. He waited a moment, then said, not because I want to, but because since the day the new pope stood on the balcony, I've felt it. He tapped his chest. Right here. Something is off. Not missing. Just pretending not to be. The host had no idea what to say. This part of the show didn't have a plan. There were no cards to read from. No funny jokes. Just silence. The kind that only comes when something really true has been said, or when something too big to explain has entered the room. The stage lights got a little dimmer. Maybe by accident. Maybe not. But now, it doesn't feel like a show anymore. It felt like a church or a secret meeting. Keanu didn't move. His face hadn't changed since the last letter. He wasn't talking to the host anymore. He was talking to something else, something deep, something that always shows up when someone tells the truth. And then Keanu said, there was one interview, one that never aired. The host looked up fast. With Francis? He asked. Keanu nodded. Yes. It was recorded in secret. It wasn't made to be shown on TV. Not even the Vatican kept it officially. He leaned forward a little. I saw part of it, just a short clip. A friend of a friend gave it to me. This person worked inside. The host's eyes got bigger. What did it show? Keanu took a breath. It wasn't very long. Only about 40 seconds. But that was enough. He paused. Francis was sitting in a small room. He wasn't wearing his big white robe or ring. Just a plain white shirt. He looked very tired, very old, but still calm. He spoke slowly and clearly. Then he looked at the camera and said, don't listen to my voice. Watch the silence. One day, the silence will say more than I ever could. The host blinked. That's weird. Keanu nodded. At first, I didn't get it. It sounded like a poem. Like he knew he didn't have much time left. Keanu leaned back a little. But then the camera moved just a bit. Francis turned his head, like he felt something. And there he was. The host didn't move. Prevost? Keanu nodded again. Yes. Standing just at the edge of the camera. He wasn't introduced. No one said his name. He was just there. The audience was very quiet now. He didn't blink. He didn't smile. He just stood there and watched. The host's voice got quiet. Was he listening? Keanu shook his head. No. It didn't feel like he was listening at all. He was looking at the camera lens. Not at the person recording. Not at Francis. Not on the floor. Not at anything else. Just the lens. Keanu took a folded paper from his coat. It was thick and fancy, like paper used for important things. I tried to find more of the video, but it was gone. Every copy. Deleted. He laid the paper flat on the table. It's a photo. A still picture from that video. The host looked at it. The people watching couldn't see the photo, but the host could. His face got serious. Keanu pointed at the edge of the picture. That's him. That's Prevost. The host leaned in, looked close, then quickly leaned back. He's looking straight at the camera, he whispered. Keanu nodded. Not at the people. Not at Francis. He's looking like he already knew someone would watch this later. He tapped the photo gently. When I saw this, it didn't feel like he was in the room. It felt like he was watching us. Through the screen. The host sat back slowly. This is scary. Keanu didn't react. They erased everything. But not before I saw it. The host looked down at the photo. Why would they erase it? Keanu looked right at him. Because it didn't fit the story. There was silence. Then Keanu added, Francis wasn't saying goodbye. He was warning us. The photo stayed on the table between them. It was the only proof of a moment that someone wanted to make disappear. And behind all of this, the photo, the story, the words, was something even bigger. Not everything that looks holy is really good. And not everything good stays in the story after it's edited. The studio didn't feel like a normal studio anymore. The lights, the shiny floor, the cameras, they were still there. But something had changed. It felt more like a quiet church. Or maybe like a courtroom. Or maybe a place where something very old had been waiting to be heard. Keanu didn't move. His hand rested on the photo of Prevost, the strange man standing at the edge of that secret video. The host hadn't said anything for a long time. And the audience didn't move at all. Then Keanu said, There's one more thing. He reached under his chair. This time not his coat. Somewhere deeper. He pulled out a small piece of paper. It was yellowish and folded 4 times. This was left in my dressing room. Before the show. The host sat up. What? Keanu nodded. No envelope. Just this. Sitting on the table where I put my notes. He unfolded the paper carefully. Then he read it out loud. If you show it, there is no going back. He paused. That's all it said. No name. No threat. Just something that felt final. The host didn't stop him. Keanu put the note on the table and reached inside his coat. Slowly and carefully, he pulled out another piece of paper. This is part of a letter. Written by Pope Francis. He looked at the audience. Then right at the camera. This part isn't scary. It's not a threat. It's a choice. He opened the paper and started reading. If the voice of faith becomes only an echo, the truth will die in silence. He waited. Then read more. There are people who wear robes but don't carry the weight. People who say the words but don't feel what they mean. You will know them by the quiet moments when they don't answer. Keanu lowered the paper for a second. Francis believed silence could be holy, but also dangerous. It could help people, or it could be used to hide things. He looked at the host. He thought someone was coming. Someone who would lead by saying nothing. Not because he was peaceful, but because he wasn't really there at all. Then Keanu reached for one last thing. It was a photo. A color photo, but a little faded. Glossy. Old. He held it up, but didn't show it just yet. This was taken almost 10 years ago. If you liked this story, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun adventures and mysteries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.